Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments, such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org.
In collaboration with Boise State Public Radio, the Community Library presents a new podcast, Sheep Stories. I'm host Vance Cunningham. Join me as we listen through the archives of the Trailing of the Sheep Festival to learn about the Scottish, Basque, and Peruvian immigrants foundational to the sheep herding industry over the past century. Hear their stories of traveling to Idaho and learning the language of the sheep. Find Sheep Stories wherever you get your podcasts and at boisestatepublicradio.org.
More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudet. Jimmy Kimmel has been making a lot of headlines. First he was off, then he was back on the air this week. Some big TV shows are coming back, well, except for one. And we have got a lot of television and movie news. So here to help us figure out what to watch is our resident movie critic and Morning Edition host, George Prentice. George, so good to have you on the show.
Thanks for the invite, Gemma. Great to be here.
Good to have you with us, George. All right. I think it's fair to say that Jimmy Kimmel has had a very big couple of weeks, George. Let's deconstruct what happened and then talk about that economic fallout.
Yeah, so let's talk numbers, because in broadcasting in general, TV in particular, it's all about the numbers. And we know now that Jimmy Kimmel Live drew record ratings in his return from suspension. So on Tuesday night, we are told that more than 6 million viewers tuned in for his first show back, keeping in mind that it wasn't available in about 23% of the country. So 6 million. This is a show that averages about 1.7 million. And what's interesting to me is that an additional 17.7 million views came on YouTube of that first show back. So let's go back to Tuesday night and Jimmy Kimmel and his message for, purveyors of Disney.
A lot of people have been asking me if there are conditions for my return to the air, and there is one. Disney has asked me to read the following statement, and I've agreed to do it. Here we go. To reactivate your Disney Plus and Hulu account, open the Disney Plus app on your smart TV or TV-connected device. I've been fortunate to work at a company that has allowed me to do the show the way we want to do it for almost 23 years. I've done almost 4,000 shows on ABC, and over that time, the people who run this network have allowed me to evolve and to stretch the boundaries of what was once traditional for a late-night talk show, even when it made them uncomfortable, which I do a lot. Every night, they've defended my right to poke fun at our leaders and to advocate for subjects that I think are important by allowing me to use their platform, and I am very grateful for that.
And indeed, he was a bit serious, a little bit more serious than usual on Tuesday. No big, deep apology, but he came back in a big way. And now we're learning that Disney shareholders are threatening a lawsuit against the corporate company because of, their loss. It turns out, to be very specific, there were significant declines in Disney stock last week, equaling about a $4 billion loss to the company's value. And who didn't see that one coming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, George, that was, I think, what was so interesting about all of this was it almost didn't matter what line, where you were on the side of politics. All of a sudden, there was this uprising of like, wait a minute. The government doesn't get to control free speech. And the thing that stood out to me about Jimmy Kimmel's monologue was him thanking the people who don't agree with him. And he named them by name. And he said, this is so important because that was courageous for them to speak out.
Yeah, Ted Cruz, Joe Rogan, absolutely.
Right. And I think that, it's like, who knew that this is what would maybe bring us together, right? You and I were just talking about that last week during our fall fund drive. Was let's try to find some commonality because we do have it.
We're learning a bit more about the companies that have chosen not to put Jimmy Kimmel on the air. As a matter of fact, they were the ones who pressured Disney in the first place to take him off the air, and that is Nexstar and Sinclair. So let's connect some dots here. Nexstar is already the nation's largest owner of TV stations, and they're in the process of making a pretty big offer to take over Tegna. And if Tegna sounds familiar, Tegna is the owner of KTVB, Channel 7 here in Idaho. So yeah, there's a big connection. Sinclair is the owner of KBOI, Channel 2 here in Boise. And by the way, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Sinclair, which owns KBOI, is also hoping to bid more for Tegna. So they could be a part of this deal. So imagine these companies having ownership and or control of two major broadcast affiliates here in the Idaho market. So interesting that Sinclair, among the other cities that it owns stations in, include Portland and Seattle. I think it's fair to say that Portland and Seattle are left of center, so you can imagine the pushback that they're getting from their viewers in those markets. This is so interesting.
So, George, here's what I find fascinating about this as well. You just mentioned these two huge media companies, Nexstar and Sinclair. Linear television, like live television, is dying. I mean, so I sit here and I watch these decisions that these two companies are making, and it's like, well, people are just watching now on YouTube, on Hulu, right?
Right.
I mean,
clearly a lot more.
Yeah, Kimmel's numbers were huge on YouTube TV. Yeah. And I'm like, do you not understand that your audience that watches live TV is going away? I have teenagers that probably haven't watched live television unless it's like an NFL game, probably since they were toddlers. They're not going to watch live television as they continue to grow up.
There's such a divide. You're so right on the demographics of this. I was looking at the history of networks that refuse to air certain series over the years. By the way, this is far from the first time this has ever happened.
Oh, absolutely.
Many of us remember a number of affiliates, particularly in the South, refused to air All in the Family. Back in the 1970s, they refused to air Maude on CBS. ABC affiliates refused to air NYPD Blue because they thought it was too steamy. Some Fox affiliates refused to air episodes of Family Guy. ABC affiliates back in the 60s wouldn't air the Dick Cavett talk show, which was considered by many to be the gold standard of intellectual late-night television. In 1968, when Johnny Carson asked Harry Belafonte to guest host on The Tonight Show and bring in his friend Martin Luther King Jr. onto The Tonight Show, the number of NBC affiliates that would not broadcast that were significant. And of course, Jack Parr famously walked off The Tonight Show in 1960 when NBC edited a joke from his monologue. He walked off the show on live television. And when he returned 4 weeks later, he said, as I was saying before I was interrupted, interestingly enough, on Tuesday night, the first words that Jimmy Kimmel said when he came back was, as I was saying just before I was interrupted. And so a student of broadcast television history would connect those dots.
Okay, George, you have got a rundown of which big TV shows will be returning. So let's talk about this.
Indeed, I made a quick list of some of the popular or familiar shows. Tonight, as a matter of fact, on NBC, all new episodes of the Law & Order franchise return. Next Wednesday, Abbott Elementary returns to ABC. A week from Saturday, Saturday Night Live returns, and buckle in for that one. Thursday, October 9th, there's Grey's Anatomy. Sunday, October 12th, our new episodes of Matlock and Elsbeth. And I want to talk a little bit about a show that was much anticipated on Apple Television. It is a miniseries called The Savant, starring Jessica Chastain. And it is, Chastain plays a suburban mother and a military veteran. But she's a savant, and she works at the Anti-Hate Alliance. She secretly visits chat message boards, posing as a white nationalist, and tries to draw out possible terrorists. Let's take a listen.
Hey kids, come on.
What's she looking at?
She's working.
She's working? I thought this was a no-work weekend, Mom.
What do you do in there all day? All night sometimes.
I track people who are planning the text. My job is pretending to think like them to stop those people from doing really bad things.
FBI, on your knees!
That's why we call her the Savant. Snipers, bombings, ambushes. We're on the verge of serious violence. I've been watching him for a year and a half. He's recruiting for something. I don't know what it is, but it's massive.
This guy isn't just planning violence. He's out to make a statement.
Wow. So this was scheduled to premiere on Apple Plus tonight. We've gotten word that Apple is postponing the show. They are not giving a reason for its postponement, saying in a brief statement only that the decision was made after careful consideration. Jessica Chastain on Instagram says she's not happy about this. Quote, "We are not aligned on the decision to pause the release of The Savant." By the way, she's also an executive producer. She made a point that they've been working on this for years. So to point this toward just the Charlie Kirk assassination, she also points to the fact that since they've been working on this, there was the attempted kidnapping of Michigan's Governor Whitmer, the assassination attempts on President Trump, the January 6th riots, over 300 school shootings across the country, and the assassination of Mr. Kirk. These incidents, again, her words here, these incidents, though far from encompassing the full range of violence witnessed in the U.S., illustrate a broader mindset that crosses the political spectrum and must be confronted. I have never shied away from difficult subjects, and while I wish this show wasn't so relevant, unfortunately it is. We don't know when it will actually appear, but right now Apple has hit the brakes on The Savant, and this has surprised a lot of people.
And George, we should note too. I mean, they were working on this during when the assassination of Melissa Hortman and her husband happened in Minnesota earlier this summer. Can I also point out really quickly, and I think that these are important, as you said, George, to connect the dots, right? Just like kind of like follow the money, which is, you know, in a lot of ways why Kimmel's back on the air, right? Because people spoke up and spoke out and stopped with their, Hulu and Disney Plus subscriptions. Well, Apple CEO Tim Cook, I mean, he's walking a line with the Trump administration because Apple has pledged to invest $600 billion in the U.S. during the next 4 years because it's trying to avoid tariffs, right? On items used on iPhones and other, key products in what they create and produce. So, I think it's worth just knowing that a lot of times it's, sometimes they may say, well, it's X, Y, and Z. There's been, I know there are Apple executives that have said, we've just seen so much violence in the United States over the last 5 years. Let's put a pause on this. Well, let's also point out where the money as well.
Right. And somebody take a look at the rundown of shows on Apple and tell me which shows, are or aren't violent. And so this particular show doesn't make any political commentary. I'm anxious to see it. I think a lot of people are. But again, there is this ultra sensitivity, I think, right now. And it's driving a lot of popular culture decisions.
Yeah, I think you're right, George. All right, let's shift gears because we are getting close to certain movies and things coming out because they want to be looked at for the Oscars. So you have one in particular that getting some buzz.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about this, and that is The Kiss of the Spider-Woman. And this is, of course, there was a novel in the 1970s, a 1985 film with Raul Julia and William Hurt. In 1992, it went to Broadway, and Kander and Ebb wrote this amazing score. And these are the folks who wrote Cabaret and Chicago. It is one of the best musicals, by the way, that a lot of people have not seen. And so now it comes to the screen. It is a story of political prisoners in Argentina, and one of them is obsessed with film, and in particular, a screen siren that was in a movie called The Spider-Woman. And so he dreams of this. He fantasizes about this to drown out the violence within the prison. So it is a heavy, heavy drama with music. And this new movie stars Diego Luna and Jennifer Lopez, which might be the role of her career. And they have just dropped the trailer. Let's listen.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't have one.
I couldn't live without movies. One of them I'll never forget. Kiss the Spider-Woman.
I've some counsel I can give. You need but ask it. I'm so very glad to share this good advice. You've got to learn how not to be where you are. The more you face reality, the more you scar. So close your eyes and you'll become a movie star. Why must you stay where you are?
You have hundreds of movies. I have one.
And the moon grows dimmer at the tide's low ebb, and her black beach shimmer, and you're aching to move, but you're caught in the web of the Spider-Woman. In her velvet cape, you can't run, you can't scream, you can't hide, but you cannot
Jennifer Lopez, possible Best Actress nominee. By the way, the film has yet to open, but here's a tip, folks. Tonight, the Sun Valley Film Festival has an exclusive screening open to the public at the Argyros in Ketchum. Grab a ticket. It is a one-night special event to see The Kiss of the Spider-Woman tonight in Ketchum, compliments of the Sun Valley Film Festival.
All right, George. Before we wrap things up with you, I hear you've got word of the winner from our fall membership drive sweepstakes.
We had so much fun during the drive. And of course, speaking of the film festival, our grand prize was a trip for two to the Sun Valley Film Festival, etc. I called the winner. Her name is Erin. Hello, I'm trying to get a hold of Erin Fonstrom.
This is she.
Erin, this is George Prentice with Boise State Public Radio. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well. First of all, I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to thank you so much for your support of Boise State Public Radio. It means everything to us.
It means a lot to me, too.
Well, I've got some extra special news. It turns out that you are our grand prize sweepstakes winner. And Yes, indeed. You have won a trip for two to the Sun Valley Film Festival, and that includes a hotel stay.
Oh my God, I love it! A month That's amazing.
It is amazing.
I don't think I've ever gotten a premium or anything.
Well,
I think I may have a sticker.
This is probably the premium of all premiums.
I guess. Oh, my goodness.
So, Aaron, can I ask who might go with you?
My daughter.
Do you or does she like movies?
We both love movies.
Oh, you're going to be in heaven.
Yes,
And
we're excited.
I wanted the pleasure to say thank you and congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. This is amazing. I don't win things very often, so I'm so excited.
Well, you are a big winner right now. So tell as many people as you'd like. And then
I will definitely tell people, donate. You might win a prize.
Aaron, thank you so very much for listening. Thank you so very much for making a gift.
Absolutely. You guys are more important now than ever.
Have yourself a really good day.
You too. All right. Thank you, George.
And that's how it happens, right, Gemma? I mean, we just
That is
pull
exactly
names
how it
randomly.
happens.
Yep.
Oh, I love hearing that, George. What a great way to find out who won, and they're going to have the best of times.
Indeed. And who doesn't love movies? So have a ball.
Right. Have a blast. Well, George, it is always so wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. We've been speaking with our resident movie critic, George Prentice, who, of course, spends his spare time hosting Morning Edition. And that'll do it for this episode of Idaho Matters. Thanks so much for listening. And just a reminder, you can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts.